Hello everyone, let's have ourselves a chat. I'm John from Rusty Chains, and today our chat is about how, stupidly good the Boys in Blue update for Payday 3 is. Starbreeze let us get a preview of the update to get this video done on time, so huge thank you to them, but this all comes with the disclaimer that this is pre-release footage, so if something doesn't look right, it may or may not have been addressed at launch. But let's jump right in and check out this update. First up are some system changes. We have a few more unique first-person animations, like for lighting thermite on No Rest for the Wicked. Nice little stuff. We can also finally rename our loadouts, a huge, much-requested feature. I'm very excited about this one. It's one of my favorite parts of the update. Heisters also finally have their lines for killing techies, which is a huge win for just information and being aware of things on the field. In terms of content, this update is completely stacked. We've got a tailor pack with 4 outfits, 4 masks, and 4 gloves. I like these a lot. Some are some tactical outfits, some are rough and tumble, and we've got some cool law enforcement options too. Just nice stuff. It's up to you how you feel about them because they're cosmetics, and cosmetics don't really do anything. It's just your opinion on how they look. We also have our first free community weapon. The Blyspruta MX63 is Payday 3's newest and first LMG. We have a high fire rate combined with medium damage, and so this bad boy is a decent alternative if you want to keep those helmets flying, while moving to a heavier alternative to the typical primaries of Payday 3. Strong ammo capacity and strong pickup make it a fun and viable weapon in its own right without stepping on the toes of the more one-shot wonders that assault rifles and DMRs fill. Now onto the DLC weapon pack, which has 3 additional guns. The Adaleg RG5 assault rifle is firmly in the middle of its weapon class. This weapon is decently viable, but held back a little bit from being truly great. It has a 20 round ammo capacity unless you get it all the way up to level 19 for the extended mag where you jump to 35 rounds. If you don't build your skills specifically around keeping this guy topped up, probably from the mower tree, you may find yourself reloading almost as much as shooting if you're not careful. And at that point, when you're putting all that effort in, I kind of wonder why not bring another rifle or the LMG, which will also benefit from the same setup to just get better results. A decent gun, but unfortunately the weakest in the pack, since it's only decent when all the other guns in this update are great. Moving on to the ATK-7 SMG, known in real life as the MP5, that is also arriving with this DLC. It's got a decent fire rate and accuracy combined with some decent damage. It stacks up well stat-wise against the other SMGs and might have usurped the pre-nerf War 45 as the best one in the game. It's effective and fun to use, and with nearly 400 rounds of total ammo, you better be sure you will be getting to use it a lot. The real star of this weapon pack is the Bull Kick 500 revolver. It lives up to its name. Slow fire rate, high recoil and reset time, and insane hipfire spread are the downsides to this thing. But it's fucking worth it, because this thing hits like a truck. Edge or not, this thing will delete anything that isn't a bulldozer, shields included. All the weapon inspect animations in this pack are great as well, but this gun has especially satisfying animations as you're going around with it. Despite some of the drawbacks, to keep it balanced, it's still super fun, and it has become my new go-to secondary weapon. Of course, we have our first post-launch heister. Clover is back and has rejoined the Payday gang. She's got a story arc going, which I won't spoil for you, but it gives her some weirdly wholesome motivation to be back. Brought with her is her new drip, and her Queen's Revenge Car 4 preset. This silenced version of the gun can really mess up the cops, and is also handy in stealth with its longer range scope. Clover's writing, however, is the highlight of this entire update for me. When interacting with the other heisters, she has unique lines or nicknames for all of them that reference their dynamics and friendships. She calls Chains Jarhead based on his time in the military. She refers to Pearl as the new girl. She tells Joy to put down her Steam Deck and listen. I realize I'm in the minority here, but the characters in the Payday gang are my favorite aspect of this series rather than the music or the gameplay. I love hearing them talk and interact, something which became increasingly infrequent as the series went on and the gang grew. Clover has more personality than ever in Payday 3, right down to some unique lobby animations. She is the new gold standard for me on how heisters in this game should talk and interact with each other. I wasn't even a huge fan of her in Payday 2. I was largely indifferent to her, but just a few heists here put her into my favorites. Finally, we have the heist itself, the long-awaited Boys in Blue. Vlad sends us into a police station to swipe some gold back after it was stolen based on false evidence from one of his few legitimate business operations. Like most Payday 3 heists, this one can be completed in loud or stealth. If you go loud, run out to the parking lot and find a van marked with a random position. Take the breach charges from the van and detonate the wall outside the vault, which you then hook up a tow truck to the vault and start pulling. Eventually you need to hook up a generator to the tow truck and give it some extra power. This generator also has a randomized position. I love this whole sequence. It's a real classic Payday move that the other heists are missing. Using a truck to rip open a building is something they've done before, but it's so stupidly over the top that only they do it, and Payday 3 really needs more of this. Now that's not the only objective though. While the truck is running and can be interrupted by cops, there's another task to do. You can find a random police officer's office on the second floor, and then use the info in their office to download some files onto a flash drive elsewhere in the building. Once you've got your optional flash drive and the vault is open, you can start looting the evidence locker while the drill runs for the secondary security gate to get the gold. You can find evidence from other Payday 3 jobs in the evidence locker, and get a random assortment of money, cocaine, or rare minerals from the road rage. Once you finally get to the gold you're here for, you'll find that you can't sprint with it, similar to the drone server on Syntax Error. Your escape? Cross the parking lot again, and drill into the police garage to lower a convict transport van. You load it with your loot, open the parking lot gates, and drive out in the transportation of the enemy. It sounds like kind of a simple heist, and it also kind of is, but what keeps it interesting to me is the absolute banger soundtrack and just the large amounts of fighting you do. To that end, there's a little treat to help out. In the lobby is a box of donuts you can take and place in the station's kitchen, and there's also some donuts on some officers' desks. Interacting with any donuts on this map has a unique animation where the heister shoves it in their face, and doing so instantly grants you a full stack of all three main buffs. I thought this was a fun little gimmick for the heist, and I hope to see more things like it in the future. Overall, this heist typically took us about 15 minutes in loud, or 20 if we didn't risk splitting up to do the files and tow trucks separately. I'm glad to see heists are getting a bit on the longer side and shifting away from that 10 to 15 minute goal they stated for launch. But how does it play in stealth? Well, I dare say I actually prefer it in stealth. To start off, we enter the police station similar to in loud gameplay. Then you find your way up to the second floor and use that donut box I talked about to lure the police captain out of his office. You hack his computer to find out who has the credentials for the bioscanner in the evidence room, and then you hack some additional devices to remove security blocks on that. As you do so, you'll find out that you can bug some property or spaces around the station that belong to the corrupt lieutenant. Bugging these are optional, but will net you some extra cash and XP at the end of the run. Back onto the main objectives, once you know who you're looking for, you swipe their fingerprints from an object on their desk. The captain's computer will also give you a number for a specific locker in the locker room. That contains a keycard which you can use to bypass a 60-second drill and open the garage doors in the parking lot for your escape. You're also required to use this keycard to get into the evidence locker in stealth. So make sure you know where it is so you can scoop it up. Now, it's theoretically impossible to do an entire stealth run of this heist completely maskless, but I've always had to mask up in the hallway approaching the evidence locker. There's a civ in that secure area, and it's easier to just tie him up than keep generating rush and trying to sneak around him. As you approach the vault, you'll find a pressure-sensitive floor. Now there are 3 weight classes which determine how you can move through. Just by standing normally, you can walk down the hallway and enter the vault, no problem. If you have a bag, however, you enter the 2nd weight class and a barrier comes down to block you until you go drop off that bag somewhere else. If you have the transporter skill and carry 2 bags, this puts you in the final, heaviest weight class and instantly sets off the alarm if you touch the pressure floor. To circumvent this, there's a door on the side of the evidence room that you can slip bags through, which brings them into the area with that sieve I mentioned. To prevent him from seeing those and calling him in, it's just another reason to tie him down. Now, once you've got the bags out of the evidence locker, you're all set to just slip out. You bring the bags to the van at whichever location it spawns, and you make your escape. Now, overall, both in stealth and loud, I like this heist a lot. It's fun, and it's engaging, and it's stuff that's just new for Payday 3. I especially enjoy the optional objectives that require some extra effort on this run, unlike No Rest for the Wicked or Syntax Error, where just completely cleaning house and taking everything finishes them up anyway. I like this whole update a lot. I think it's a great soft relaunch for Payday 3. Starbreeze has already announced that the other 2 Year 1 DLCs will be released before the end of September. This is what I meant in my video a few weeks ago when I said if they can stick to their roadmap, Payday 3 will be into a great spot going into Year 2. They're finally cooking, and if they pull this off, we might be back. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. We've also got a lot more Payday 3 videos coming soon, so, maybe drop a like and a sub if that's your jam. Until next time, don't forget to spread that happy and stay rusty.